Welcome back, everyone. This is Dave from the Core Productions Deep Dive TV podcast. My co-host Stacie here to talk about Paradise, Season 1, Episode 7, titled The Day.
The Day.
Yes, that's a very interesting title. Like, you just like The Day? Like, what kind of title is that?
The Day.
The Day. Okay, so the episode's description reads as follows. Sinatra and Xavier confront the past, returning to the harrowing day that brought them to paradise. The episode is written by John Hoberg, and the episode was directed by Glenn Piccaro and John Riquet. I believe they did the pilot episode at least, and it's, once again, unusual for there to be two directors on an episode, but these two work as a pair quite frequently. Before we go further, I'll tell you a couple things. One, this is not a spoiler-free podcast. If you haven't watched the episode, I highly recommend you go check it out, and then come back and give us a listen. Secondly, if you're listening on the platforms that this podcast is available on, please follow, and feel free to check out our YouTube channel, Core Productions, where additional content can be discovered. If you're already on our YouTube channel, please like, share, and comment, and subscribe to the channel. All right, so we got some shout-outs this week, some birthday shout-outs.
Lots of birthdays.
Yes. We're going to take some turns reading them. January 16th, both Damon from the Phantom Entanglement podcast turned 50. Damon, of course, is a friend of the channel who's, a podcast we occasionally make appearances on. And yeah, he's currently covering Sliders, so if you're interested in that show, go and check it out. We also have Christopher D. Philippus of the Quantum Leap podcast and Direct Exploration. He turned slightly more than 50 years old. Not going to say how much into the year 50 he is, but he's up there now. And, of course, he's also a friend of the channel. We've had a pleasure meeting him several times. If you liked Star Trek, he's currently talking about Star Trek, Starfleet Academy. Go and check them out.
Absolutely.
And
happy birthday.
Yes, happy birthday. For birthdays relevant to this series, we got January 1st, Charlie Evans, who plays Jeremy Bradford on Paradise. He turned 22 years old.
Wow.
Youngin. January 10th, Sarah Shahi, who plays Gabrielle Torabi. She turned 46. Matt Malloy on January 12th plays Baines in the series. He turned 63. And Chris Marshall, who plays Robinson on January 20th, she turned 37.
Is turning.
That's right.
When is that? That might be today?
Right. When we drop this.
I don't know what day this is dropping. It's this week.
Right. Yes.
Is turning today. Happy birthday! A lot of birthdays from Paradise. Wow, they all had. I wonder if they celebrate together because they all have birthdays like within a week of each other.
That would be so touching.
Although they're not filming in January. Right?
No. Yep.
We also have from the related series, This Is Us, Ron Cephas Jones, who of course played William. That was Sterling K. Brown's character's father on This Is Us. He would have had his birthday on January 8th. Unfortunately, he did pass away in 2023. So remembering him this month on what would have been his birthday.
You know, I think if he had lived, it would have been really cool for him to play Sterling K. Brown's father again in the series.
Absolutely.
He absolutely would have, because,
they picked the same kid to play him as a kid.
Dan Fogelman does that kind of thing all the time.
100%.
Yeah.
I think he would have done that if that was an option.
Yep.
And then another show we cover, Sullivan's Crossing, had a bunch of birthdays recently as well. On January 5th, Andrea Menard, who plays Edna, turned 55. And on the 8th, Lauren Hammersley, who plays Connie, had a birthday. And on January 9th, Steve Lund, who joined the cast in Season 3 as Cooper, turned 37.
Okay. Well, happy birthday to them all.
To all of those people. And for more birthdays, because there's more, check out our Under the Dome podcast this week
yes.
For some more.
Yep.
And I have another announcement to make, and that is if you would like to help support the show, please check out our Throne wish list. We have a wish list over on the Throne website, and it's full of ways that you can contribute to help the podcast keep running, including sending us money for different things that we have to pay for, or sending us physical gifts. And there's a bunch of different items there that you can purchase and have shipped to us. our current featured wish is funds to help us pay for a Riverside subscription. Riverside is recording and editing software that would help us produce higher quality videos than what we have been putting out, specifically when we do interviews and have guests on our channel and we are recording in video. And this would make that better, but we need a little help paying for that because it's expensive.
Yes.
So if you want to help contribute, that would be super amazing. And thank you to an anonymous donor who has given us our first contribution towards the Riverside Fund.
Yes, thank you to that person, wherever they happen.
We don't know who it was, so
Nope.
so it was anonymous. We don't know, but thank you, whoever you are. If you would like to check that out, you can go to throne.com/Corman Productions.
Okay, so, Stacie, your thoughts on this week's episode.
This is, I'm pretty sure, my favorite episode of season 1.
That pretty much goes without question.
With that being said, though, when I watched it, I was a little confused because some of the stuff that hasn't happened yet, I thought was in this episode. Like, in my mind, we went through arrivals in this episode, and that didn't happen yet, so that must be next week.
Probably.
So there's a lot going on next week, because there's still a lot that hasn't happened yet, and there's only one episode left. But it's such a good episode. It's the most linear of the whole season. Like, we're not cutting back and forth in time so much, other than a deep flashback in the front, and then a short present-day scene, book ending the chunk of the episode. It all takes place on the day, 3 years ago, the day that, the world ended, and that's unusual for this show, and for Dan Fogelman's storytelling method in general, where we're not every scene going back and forth between different timelines. We're just telling a story, and it's a really powerful story. I feel like it was the right choice for this one to break format and just tell this really, like, we've been hinting at this. We've seen a couple of these scenes before in little flashes, and now it's putting it all in context of here's what the frick happened that day, and here's how Xavier Collins lost his wife, and here's how we got to the bunker. And it's powerful. This episode makes me cry every time I watch it.
Yeah, this episode, it doesn't matter how many times I watch it, it doesn't fail to hit. It's an excellent hour of television. And I would almost venture to say it's probably one of the best hours of television that we have covered on this channel up to this point. I can't think... I mean, sure, there's some great episodes that we've covered. I can't think of one better than this. There are some naysayers on Internet Movie Database, their reviews. I don't understand what they're talking about when I've read their negative comments, but I read them just, to see the other side. But mostly, this is a well-regarded episode of television, and it absolutely deserves to be so. When we go through and I do the scene by scene, we do the scene by scene, we're just not going to be able to do this justice. So,
Right.
If you haven't watched this episode, I said go and check it out. I highly recommend that you do that. If you have not watched this episode, you are missing out. It is a great hour of television.
Yeah. Along with that, it's got about 1 million new faces.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think I matched most of them up, but there's definitely some that I didn't figure out exactly where they met them, and I guarantee you and I are going to stumble a little bit on, like, who was that, and we're going to have different thoughts, and we might have people in different places. Mm-hmm. So we're probably going to fumble a little bit on the cast this week, is my prediction.
Yeah.
But stick with us.
Right.
So we'll get through it. In this episode, we learn that it's a tsunami that destroyed the world, followed by
nuclear war,
the threat of nuclear war, the start of a nuclear war, and of course we're going to learn the thing that, Sinatra told Xavier last week that he doesn't know.
Right.
We're going to learn what that thing is. But it just made me think of, I recently watched this series on Netflix, so I wanted to bring this up. It's called La Palma.
Okay.
It's a 4-episode limited series. It's about a tsunami.
All right.
So it's had a lot of similar stuff as far as, like, all of the scientific, like, and it was a much less of a tsunami than this one. It wasn't world ending. But it was focusing on a tsunami that happened in the Canary Islands, like, fake. I mean, it's not a real life thing. It's fiction. But But it was a massive tsunami compared to what we've had in real life, where, it did affect all sorts of different countries, and people were trying to figure out how to get ahead of it. So it wasn't as big as this one, but it was still pretty big, and it was a good show. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, survival stories, I recommend La Palma. It is on Netflix.
All right. Anything else to say before diving in?
Let's get into the day.
Okay. So the episode begins after the Cuba Missile Crisis with Colonel Jeffries, played by Walter Benkley. 20 credits for him, including an episode of Extended Family, which we covered.
Yes, he was in the episode Consequences of Loaning Your Dad Money.
Okay. Will Trent and Beverly Hills Cop Axel F. That would be the fourth Beverly Hills Cop movie that recently came out.
He was also in one episode of The Good Wife. And the date for this flashback, it's October 28th, 1962.
Okay. He's worried that the situation will repeat while talking to his wife, Miriam. And basically, she's played by Eleanor Gunn. 18 credits, including an episode of 911.
As well as an episode of Ratched.
Jeffrey asks what happens if the wrong person is at the switch next time.
Yeah, so basically he's telling this story. And this is half a true story.
Mm-hmm.
These characters aren't real life characters, but they're talking about an event that happened.
Right.
As far as this one particular submarine, the what's the word for the person running it? It's not pilot.
The submarine commander.
The person in charge was under orders to fire nukes. The captain was under orders to fire, not nukes, missiles from the submarine, which would have escalated the Cuban Missile Crisis into a war.
Yes.
And he made the decision not to do it. He broke orders and was like, I'm not just going to blindly follow orders, and turned around and saved the world.
Wow, what do you know?
So that happened.
Yes.
But this guy's thing of what he invents didn't really happen. As far as, history knows.
So that actually answers the question. What happens later when Cal mentions some colonel? This is the guy he's talking about.
He's talking about Colonel. This is one of the, it's such a This Is Us type of moment.
Yes.
Where it's just this cold open. We have no idea who these characters are. We have no idea what this has to do with anything. And they're not going to hold our hands through it.
Right.
We're going to find out by end of episode what this was all about.
Right.
But they're not going to be like, oh, do you remember that guy that we told you about at the beginning? Yeah. We're not going to see them again. We're not going to talk about it again. You have to put two and two together yourself and be an intelligent audience member to remember that this scene happened and realize this is the dude that invented the thing that's going to happen later in the episode.
Right.
And he invented it because of this moment. So he goes and he's, his wife's telling him to go to bed, worry about saving the world tomorrow. And he switches the light off to go to bed and turns it back on and switches it off and turns it back on, and he has an idea.
Oh.
And you just see this little glimmer of like, oh, wait, he's got a thought. And that's it. That's the whole scene. Mm-hmm. And we'll learn later what that thought turned into. That literally, potentially saved the world. His wife's like, you're not going to save the world tonight. Maybe he did.
Right, maybe he did.
It just took, 60 years to come into fruition.
Present day, Xavier and Sinatra. Collins has a gun on her. He doesn't believe that his wife is alive. Sinatra levels with him about what actually happened with the people sent outside, that they were basically shot and killed.
Yeah, she's telling the truth.
Right. She also mentions that they set up shortwave transmitters that the team set up so that they can communicate with the people outside. And she is still listening and plays some of the people that have been talking out there. She says people are alive out there, and she believes that his wife was one of them. Xavier says that Atlanta was hit. It was unsurvivable. Sinatra says that Cal did something that he doesn't know about. And Xavier says, that's bullshit because I was with him the entire horrible day. And yells at Sinatra when she tries to contradict him. He's like, I was there. And, it's kind of fun to see Xavier Collins, who's usually very controlled, like have an emotional outburst like this. Mm-hmm. Then we cut to the past.
Now we're in the day.
Right. With the news anchor talking about a supervolcano erupting in Antarctica, which melted trillions of gallons of water, causing a massive tsunami and a 300-feet wave.
Yeah, so it all started 3 hours ago. And
Right.
things are happening so fast that all coastal areas around the world are now on a tsunami watch. And this, by the way, is Bob Woodruff
Playing
himself. He
Yep.
is a ABC News correspondent, playing himself throughout this episode. We're going to keep checking in with him to learn what's going on in the world. And I really love the way they did this.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. And the fact that they got an actual news correspondent to record these scenes
Yep.
just adds to the authenticity of it, you know?
Absolutely. Xavier is at the West Wing with new agent on his third day. That's really unfortunate for him.
Yeah.
Ryan, played by Tyler Jacob Moore, 42 credits, including 14 episodes of Shameless, 1 episode of Barry, and Magnum P.I., the recent reboot of the series.
He also was in 4 episodes of Monster and 2 episodes of Once Upon a Time.
Marcia, who we saw last episode, Amy Peets, this is her second and last appearance thus far. She could, of course, make more appearances in season 2, theoretically.
Right.
Is asking him questions as he's trying to call and text someone. He's basically trying to get through to his wife. It's not going through. A couple of staffers react to footage of Melbourne basically being destroyed. The 2 staffers here, I believe, are My Pac, 13 credits, including Life is Strange 2, the video game, All Rise, and CSI Vegas.
Okay, I need to slow down for 1 second because I didn't have these people
Here. I mean, this is basically just speculation on my part because I wasn't totally sure that these were these people, but it makes sense that they would be the concerned staffers that we're talking about.
She was in an episode of Better Things. I don't know if you said that.
I don't think I did.
And did you say 2 people?
Nope, I didn't mention him yet, but
Okay.
the other one is Josh Breslow, 31 credits, including Jack Reacher, Never Go Back, Love and Other Drugs, and Beyond Belief, Fact or Fiction.
He was also in the film Houdini and 3 episodes of Once Upon a Time.
Xavier calls his kids at the school, or he tries to anyway. He basically calls the school. Denise on the phone is rude. I never managed to find a credit for her.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people whose voices we hear in this episode
Yeah,
that didn't get credited.
gotcha.
A lot of like phone calls and things that I don't think they credited them.
He basically tells Denise that the kids need to stay near Jeremy Bradford. He gets disconnected or hung up on
I'm pretty
him.
sure he got hung up on. She's like, I'm busy.
Right.
You already told me this.
And he's upset by this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
During all of this craziness, and I think we're going to have a lot of this where we're just kind of like not exactly in order because there's so much going on at the same time.
Right.
Some things that we learned between the things they're saying and what the news is saying is Key West is going to get hit in 2 hours. There's our timeline. So that's the first U.S. landfall of the tsunami, 2 hours. And then D.C., which is where they're at, is going to get hit in 5 hours. That's how long we have before the tsunami theoretically destroys everything.
3 hours?
2 hours for Key West, 5 hours for D.C.
Gotcha.
We also learned that Nancy's whole family, I don't know if you said that, Nancy's whole family's in Australia. Nancy being, of course, Baines's wife.
Right.
We learned that in this scene.
Okay, so Marcia wants to know what's going on. She's worried about her son. She wants him to talk to Cal, and Xavier assures him that he will. That's his first lie of this episode. He's definitely not going to do that. Vice President Barnes runs through and is dismissive of Callens after he falls. He runs into the meeting, declaring that Russia has gone dark, which of course is information they already have.
Yeah, he's late to the room. Don't know
Right.
where he's been, but he
Right.
just comes in and everybody's like already deep in this meeting and they're
Right.
like, yeah, catch up.
Cal suggests a Valium and a seat, and he kicks the meeting over to Kurt Lee, of course, once again played by Scott Lawrence, possibly for the final time. Though again,
The final time this season.
Right.
But yeah, this is a show about flashbacks. So
Right, yep.
we never know who's going to pop up in the next season.
So they are talking about a coup d'etat in Russia, I think. There's a lot of geopolitical stuff here that I don't quite have a handle on. Maybe you do a little bit better than I do, but
Well, they said Russia isn't picking up the red line, meaning
Okay.
the emergency phone line. They can't get a hold of Russia. And yeah, they're talking about if something was successful. They're talking about a lot of different countries and a lot of different stuff because the world's going cuckoo right now. That's the point.
right.
Is we're facing a natural disaster, which is going to be devastating, if not species ending.
Right.
Different countries are debating how bad it really is. And, governments are doing the things governments do. Militaries are doing the things militaries do, where they're like, oh, this is a good excuse to frickin' go to war. Let's fight each other right now.
Right.
Seems like the best course of action.
Yeah, and the CIA guy confirms that the coup was successful, drawing a very annoyed glance from Kurt Lay. And he's played by Chet Grisham, 110 credits, including Vice, 2 episodes of Justified, and 4 episodes of Monk.
He also was in an episode of Orville and an episode of Timeless. He was in Hollywoodland.
Okay. One woman suggests the UN is convening in 2 hours, to which Cal says that they will lose Florida in 2 hours. And not in the good old days way of basically talking about the Electoral College.
And this is the Secretary of State.
I think I have her at some point. But...
Yeah, I knew this was going to happen. She's played by Liz Benoit. And if you have her again later, we can bring her up again.
Right.
But she was a nurse in 12 episodes of House.
Oh, okay. Yes, I knew that one.
She's in an episode of The Connors and an episode of Good Trouble.
Okay. So Cal wants to know, how bad is this? He knows it's bad, but how bad? Is this it? Is this the world-ending event? One woman in the group believes that it is. Bane asks about Melbourne and is informed that it's gone. Nancy had a bunch of family there. Also gone is New Zealand, Argentina, Chile, etc., etc. Cal calls for his nerds and yells at them, saying that they said that we'd have days or weeks if this was the real thing. Basically notification. The scientist who speaks is played by Tom Lamell. 41 credits, including 2 episodes of This Is Us, American Horror Story, and Perry Mason.
He also was in an episode of The Paper and an episode of Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage.
He says it happened faster than all of their models suggested it would. The president says to move to DEFCON 3 and then wants everyone to vote as to whether they are going for Versailles. He gets annoyed with them calling out their titles and just wants the votes. They all vote yes, and it's a go for Versailles.
Go for Versailles. Also in this room, we have the Secretary of Defense. He said something in there somewhere. He's played by Joe Holt. He was in 12 episodes of Bel Air, 14 episodes of The Walking Dead World Beyond, and an episode of NCIS New Orleans.
Yes, I have that, as well as 12 episodes of Bel Air and the movie K-Pax.
I said Bel Air.
Did you?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those with this many people.
The chief of staff in the scene is played by David Aaron Baker, 96 credits, including 1 episode of Evil, The Post, and 4 episodes of Billions.
He also is in 5 episodes of Law & Order and an episode of The Society.
And Liz Benoit, who you brought up earlier as the Secretary of State, the only thing I think I have differently is 3 episodes of General Hospital.
Okay. And we have an uncredited cabinet member who somewhere was in this scene, played by Carrie Bunkers. She was in an episode of Good Girls and 3 episodes of The Hill.
In the hall, the president is preparing to go on camera to talk to the American people. Xavier is getting a text from his wife saying she's still at the Atlanta airport. On the news is the reporter, played by
Bob Woodruff.
Bob Woodruff.
Or something.
Yeah.
Yes.
Actually, I'm sorry. This is different. This is not that reporter. It's a different reporter. She's on a tall building.
Oh.
Yeah. When she's.
I'm nowhere near there yet. Wait. Oh. I got a whole bunch of stuff before that.
Okay. Well, you go ahead.
Okay. On the news, we see Bob again with Dr. Luge.
Okay. I have that later.
He's in it for the rest of the broadcast.
Yeah.
But it's definitely before the scene you're getting to. We see him for the first time. And remember, we met him in episode 2. This is the dude that first tipped Sinatra off that the world was going to end.
Right.
He's the reason that the bunker's happening.
But of course, he's not going to get a seat in the bunker.
Right?
Right.
So he's the one who tipped her off, because she's like one of the only people. Her and Cal both stayed for his presentation. Nobody else did, like
right.
5 other people. But she stopped him afterwards and took him seriously, when basically nobody's taking anything this dude said seriously. That was 10 years ago. Now we're here. The world's ending. And he's like, I told y'all, so this is it.
Right.
But it was because of him that she got this whole idea to build the bunker in the first place. Mm-hmm. That's the reason that Versailles is a plan.
Right.
Is this man who's just on the news the rest of the episode with
Bob Woodruff.
Bob Woodruff. And then, let's see. We had Cal come out. Xavier's constantly trying to get a minute with him. Mm-hmm. Right? Because he needs to tell him, hey, Terry's still in Atlanta, and you said you'd get her a plane. He keeps trying, but can't get a word with him, because obviously Cal's freaking busy. Mm. But instead of Cal listening to what he has to say, Cal tells him, we're go for Versailles.
Right.
And Xavier jumps in. He immediately knows what that means. He jumps into action, focuses on his job, and not worrying about his wife for a moment. And tells Ryan, this poor soul who has no freaking clue what's going on. He's like, is this, like, not normal? What's happening?
Right.
And so they're moving. Xavier's on Cal, like he's guarding him.
Yep.
Ryan is on Xavier, like he's the second, in he's supposed to be protecting Xavier.
Right.
So that Xavier can protect Cal.
Right.
And then all the cabinet members come out of the room and chaos starts, right? Because we're go for Versailles. And this is the first kind of glimpse you can get. As the episode goes on, you'll see as more people start to realize what's going on. At this moment, you can tell just by looking at people's faces around the room who is Versailles and who isn't.
Right.
Because people who are Versailles understand what this means.
Right.
But most of the people in this room are not on that list, and they have no idea what's going on. Mm-hmm. They have no idea that the world's about to end, that they're about to die.
Right.
And you can tell just by, like, the urgency of who's moving, who's doing something right now, because there is a protocol starting. And these are the people who have tasks in that protocol, and everybody else is just standing here like, what happened? Like, why are we suddenly moving? What's going on?
Right.
And then we have a curator who is taking down artwork off of the walls.
Okay.
Did you catch that?
I did catch that, yeah. I didn't make note of it, but yes. So
she's taking down art and talking about a priority list because it's a goal for Versailles. So people who are Versailles know their jobs. Her job's to take the art. Doesn't seem like this should be a priority right now, right?
No.
Like the absurdity of what this plan entails. This isn't just a survival plan. Yes. This is a plan to create a new world in a bunker. And part of that is we're going to preserve art, right? Because we saw some of the art already in the bunker in the 3-year future timeline. And it's funny because we have like the character of Ryan, who has no idea what's going on. He goes, are they taking paintings off the wall? Like, why are they doing that right now?
Right, yeah.
Well, you have this curator and her team just like going through a checklist. And it's, like I said, it's the absurdity of this whole situation and looking at the different sides of who knows what right now. And it's so powerful to just look at it from different people's perspectives.
And it's funny because Xavier, he's ordering Ryan around, and he should be well aware that this person is going to be dead by the end of this.
And this is his job.
Right.
The art curator, is played by Pam Tierney. She's in 10 episodes of Vendors and an episode of Shining Girls. Oh, and we also see this is the first time we're going to see the dude carrying the football, which is the briefcase.
Yep.
Which, we'll find out more about that later. And we have Cal changing his tie. He takes off the yellow tie because he says it's too cheerful. And he puts on a blue tie. And Cal notices Jeffrey the cleaner.
Yes.
This is the first time he spots him. Now, we talked about Jeffrey last episode.
Yes.
Played by J.D. Hall. And he has a beautiful little part in this episode. Last week I was like, wait, who is that? But yeah, it was Jeffrey the cleaner we met last week.
Okay.
And this is the first time that Cal is looking at him and noticing him. And Xavier's still trying to get a word in edgewise with Cal. And then Ryan is just being utterly confused. Like, he's the comic relief going, huh? What? Where? Why? What am I supposed to be doing?
Right, yeah.
And then we stop to watch the news.
Okay. So, the woman is on top of a tall building where the tsunami is set to hit.
She's in Jakarta.
Okay.
And this is Rebecca, the correspondent.
And she's played by Amanda Nedovich.
Nope.
Nope?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
This is Alexandra Fedovich.
Oh, so I think I got the name wrong, but I think that's the correct person. 43 credits, including an episode of American Crime Story, The Space Between, and an episode of Veronica Mars.
She's in an episode of Good Trouble and an episode of American Horror Story. And I'm positive I got the right person because her IMDb picture is of her standing on top of this building with the water in the background.
So she gets hit with a high-pressure sound wave, which she characterizes as quite painful. She thinks she's safe, but she's wrong. As the wave quickly approaches, the transmission cuts, and she probably dies.
Oh, she definitely died.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm safe. I'm on a 20-story building. Well, it's 300-foot waves. That's 30 stories.
Right.
Yeah, you're not high enough.
Right. Is there any building high enough?
Probably.
Right.
I mean, it might fall down.
Right.
But there's buildings higher than the wave, sure. Maybe not where she is. I don't know how tall buildings are in Jakarta. But, yeah, the wave was a lot higher. That's the point, is they had no idea how bad it was. She's like, yeah, we're safe up here. It's going to be down there, and I'm up here. And,
right.
If that boom wasn't enough to, like, throw you off the building, which that could have happened.
Yeah.
The wave came, and it was well above her head. There's no way anybody survived that.
Right. Everyone reacts in shock and horror.
Including Homeland Security. He mouths a WTF expletive. He is played by Sonny Sato. He was in 3 episodes of Curb Your Enthusiasm and 4 episodes of Hawaii Five-0.
Xavier gets a call from his daughter, who's freaking out. They are being moved into another room. She's with James near Jeremy Bradford. She describes how her teacher fell down the stairs and isn't okay. Marcia is getting more frantic. Cal in the Oval Office is not thrilled with the speech, saying it basically reads like they're prepping for a snowstorm. Press secretary here is played by Renika Hanakar. 15 credits, including Freakier Friday, which came out recently. Cal wants words cut out of the speech, but the speechwriter objects to that, which draws annoyance from Cal. Speechwriter here is played by Garrett. 3 credits, including Mayor of Kingston and Night Court, the revival.
He also was in an episode of Good Girls. So the plan here, this is what these people are talking about, is that they're pre-recording this.
Yes.
And this was something we learned last week when, we were going over the Versailles plan, right? We heard all of this last week, what was supposed to happen. So they're pre-recording this message, but the plan is to air it as live.
Right.
Try to trick the message. The president's already going to be safely tucked away by the time it airs. That's the plan.
Mm-hmm.
And it's to protect Cal, right? It's to have him tucked away before he addresses the nation.
So I'm kind of curious about one thing. Why wouldn't you just record, if this is your plan, just record a speech well before this, so you don't even have to do this
Because
at
they
this
didn't
point?
really know what or when it was going to happen.
Wow.
It's almost live. We're talking 20 minutes, not months or years.
Cal asks his chief of staff if he saw the wave, and he asks about his family. His family is safe. He clears the room. His hands are clearly shaking. He wants a break.
It's like 2 minutes. And if you remember last week, we were told this entire thing from the moment go for Versailles until they take off is supposed to be 20 minutes. Right. We're on a very tight schedule, and Cal is constantly pushing back against the schedule. He's like, no, I need 2 minutes before I do this.
Right. Cal takes a drink of alcohol and recalls the first time Xavier and him met. Xavier tells him about his wife not react well to
he
this.
Finally got him alone for a moment and tells him Terry's still in Atlanta.
He asks about his kids, and Cal asks about Xavier's kids, and basically he says that they are right where they're supposed to be. To talk to General Kirtley, he has 2 missed calls from Terry. He tries calling back, but just gets voicemail. Xavier goes to Kirtley, who wants to brush him off, because he's kind of busy right now.
He's busy right now. They're talking about, like, which countries are bombing which country. The military people are having a little powwow, and he's like, I need to talk to you, sir.
Right. And Curley is basically like, he doesn't want to talk to this guy at all, but he looks at the president, and Cal gives him a nod, so he, goes along with this conversation. And, basically he says that he sends him off with somebody else.
This is Colonel. He doesn't get a name.
Right.
He's played Nico Petrome. He's in 24 episodes of Days of Our Lives and an episode of How to Get Away with Murder. And,
basically this dude tells him where his wife needs to go, and basically that how much she needs to get there. Basically.
Right. She needs to get to Dobbins Air Reserve Base, 20 miles from Atlanta Airport. And they're going to give her gate clearance so that her name's going to be at the gate. And she needs to be on a plane that's leaving in 1 hour and 15 minutes.
So Xavier ends up plugging this airbase into his GPS and realizes, this is too long.
It's going to take over 2 hours to get because the world's gone crazy and there's just traffic everywhere. And all the roads are at a standstill. Normally, you'd be able to get 25 miles in 1 hour 15 easily.
Right. Cal gives his speech about the importance of remaining calm. Meanwhile, Xavier is going to Garcia and gets a faster route.
Called for Agent Tompkins, to come relieve him so that he could go talk to Garcia.
Right.
And she's played by Karina Noel Castillo. Mm-hmm. She was in 3 episodes of Lincoln and NCIS. I think my notes are a little fumbled there. I'm not sure which of those she was in 3 episodes, but she was in Lincoln and NCIS. And we never see her in the bunker, so I'm thinking she's not Versailles.
Probably not.
Or she just doesn't make it there.
Right, yeah.
Or we just haven't seen her yet.
Right.
But we know so many agents, we don't know this person.
Right. Cal finishes up his speech, and he is informed by Kirtley that Russia and China have exchanged fire. They are preparing for nuclear activity. They recommend moving to DEFCON 2. Dr. Louge, on TV, angrily says that yes, they've caused this. Bob decides to check him for his language, and Dr. Louge thinks this is absurd, because it absolutely is. Like, the world is ending, and you're worried about, this guy on TV saying, fuck, whatever.
Right.
It's absolutely absurd, and he absolutely reacts to that in an appropriate manner, in my opinion.
Why is the doctor even, entertaining this whole news broadcast? Why is he not trying to get somewhere?
Right. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't think he has anywhere to go.
Right. Because he doesn't know about the bunker
that
he influenced to be built.
Right.
And at this point, they're joined by an oil man.
Mr. Malarkey, I believe.
Mr. Markley.
21 credits, including episodes of American Crime Story, Lethal Weapon, and America's Most Wanted.
He also was in an episode of Monster and an episode of Ratchet. And you failed to actually say the actor's name, which is Edward Singletary Jr.
Terry calls Xavier, and Xavier gives her the route that Garcia...
They finally get to talk.
Right.
After they've been trying literally the whole episode, and the calls aren't going through, and the texts aren't going through, they finally get each other.
Now, I was thinking throughout this entire episode, how would I react in this situation if I were in any way in any kind of position of, authority or power here? And I would say that I would react very poorly to this situation. I would just become an anxiety-riddled mess. I certainly wouldn't be able to recall information like, directions to get to an airport, for instance. I certainly wouldn't be able to, relay that, route back to my wife. I would just be a complete mess.
Well, maybe you wouldn't be a good Secret Service agent.
I doubt it. I mean, I really doubt it. But yes.
He tells her where she's got to go and how long she has to get there, and she's like, "But I don't have a car."
And he's like, "Steal one."
Yeah.
And this is a highly moral person, and he's in the situation suggesting to his wife that she steal a car.
I mean, it's life or death.
Well, absolutely.
She's on the list.
Right.
She has a spot.
Yes. For
her life to be saved, but
right.
she has to get somewhere to make it happen.
Right. Yeah.
Do anything it takes to get there.
Right.
Because literally all these people are going to die. And you're either with them dying or you get to where you need to be.
Right.
And you know what I just thought? Would be really cool if we get to see this day from her perspective in season 2.
Oh, we probably will.
I want to see this. I want to see her steal a car. I want to see her not get there in time. I want to see her whole day play out. And then, obviously, what happened with her. Because that's what we're doing in season 2, right? We're going to look for her.
That would be awesome. I can't wait to watch that episode. So, people are watching as things get pretty bad on TV.
There was an earthquake in L.A.
Right.
I don't know how that fits in, but that happened.
Ryan asks what's going on, but Xavier orders him away. Marcia knows things are bad. The president is helping him. She begs Xavier to get her son Edward to safety. Xavier has tears in his eyes. He nods. That nod is a lie. He cannot do that. He has no intention of doing that.
Right. He knows that everything's not going to be okay.
It's not a verbal lie, but it is definitely a lie.
No, he says everything's going to be okay.
Oh, well, yeah, he definitely...
It's not.
Right.
Definitely not.
That's the outside lie. That's the verbal lie that he makes.
Right.
But he also has the nod. Saying,
that yeah, I'll protect your kid. And you know what? They could have taken the kid.
Right. Yeah, they could have. Yep. We had this conversation off air.
And I think we should talk about that
absolutely.
Later.
Yep. Not sure what question he's being asked on TV, but Dr. Loud says, I don't know. Why don't you ask a fucking dinosaur? I'm assuming that it's like how do we handle this situation, or how does humanity survive, or something along those lines.
Yeah.
And
at this point, the two of them are on, and you can see there's 3 other cameras where people were on the broadcast and aren't there anymore. They've dipped out.
I would too. I wouldn't still be on this. Walking down the hall, we see paintings getting taken down. Xavier meets Robinson. Ryan introduces himself, but she completely ignores him because he's going to be dead in a few hours.
She knows he's not Versailles.
Right. Why am I bother talking to you? You're not going to exist in a couple hours.
And we specifically see that painting that was featured in the last episode being taken down.
And this is the first time that Xavier and Robinson are meeting, I'm pretty sure. That's the general tone of the conversation.
Yes, she's introducing herself to him.
Xavier is distracted with his phone, and she asks if she's boring him, but he repeats back her orders. And that's the other thing. I would not be able to be distracted by my wife's situation and also hear someone talking to me and giving me orders at the same time.
Right.
So, yes. I would do very poorly in this situation.
And the plan is that he's supposed to take Cal down the elevator first, just the two of them. And then everybody else that's Versailles is going to go in shifts. And once they're all down in that hallway, which is PIOC, I don't know what that stands for, but that's where they're supposed to all get together. Then they're going to move to Marine 1, and she tells Ryan, you just stay here and guard the door.
Yes. He's like, oh, well, what do I do? Just guard this door. Make sure it doesn't move. So they are escorting the president out, but the president wants to talk to the cleaning man, Jeffrey, who we've seen spotted several times throughout this episode. You've already brought him up. You brought him up last week. I'm not sure if I mentioned his credits last week or not.
We covered his credits.
You did? I mentioned him?
I don't know, but
okay.
I one of us did.
Okay, so I'm just going to say it.
Okay.
95 credits, including an episode of B, the series, an episode of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and an episode of Star Trek Enterprise.
Okay.
And he also has ADR work on Dead Presidents, which I found interesting.
Okay.
So he's cleaning up. People are distracted today, he says. Cal tells him to call his family. And basically, he's saying that this is a different situation than you may have heard about in the past. And Jeffrey says, I've heard that before. I'll call them tomorrow. And you can see Cal's heart breaking.
Yeah, it's a beautiful scene.
Yes.
Cal has some humanity.
Yes.
He sees this man, a cleaner, not anybody, important to the government. He's definitely not on Versailles. And he's still doing his job. All this chaos, the world's going to hell, and he's dusting.
Yes.
And Cal's just like, what are you doing, dude?
Right.
Like, stop working.
Right. He's basically saying he's going to call his grandkids tomorrow, and Cal knows that there's literally no tomorrow.
There is no tomorrow.
Right.
Like, this is your last chance.
Right.
And he was touched that Cal knew his name. And Cal was like, of course I know your name. You've been here for 9 administrations.
Right.
This guy's worked here forever.
Right.
And that's what the point is. Jeffrey's like, yeah, I was here for 9/11. I was here for all these things. Like, and it always is okay. It'll be okay.
Right. Not this time, unfortunately. Cal decides to turn around and go back on the air. His people are panicking.
Yeah, so he's like, that speech was bullshit. Because the speech was basically like, it's going to be tough, but we're going to pull it through, and we're going to be a better nation after this.
Right.
It was telling people it's going to be okay.
Right.
He knows that's not true.
Right.
So he's like, we're not airing that. I'm going live, and I'm going to tell people the truth. That, like, you need to tell somebody you love them.
Right.
Because you're probably not going to live through the day.
And the chief of staff here is basically swearing at this point. This is not the plan. This is not... the whole thing here is the continuity of government. We have to get Cal and everybody to the bunker.
Right.
So that
if we can't get to safety, the whole plan goes up.
Right. So that we can still have a functioning government when the world ends. Like, when people are safe to crawl out, they still have a functioning government.
Right.
So, everyone else thinks this is very important and that everything else, fuck it. But Cal, who has humanity, is, he's changing his mind and saying, we can't just, say this. We need to tell the truth.
We need to give people at least, they need to know what's coming.
A chance to say goodbye.
Yes.
Yeah. And, basically his chief of staff is begging him not to do it. Xavier tells the president to not leave the room until he gets back. He tells Ryan to prepare for things to get tense.
And tells him, you have permission to shoot.
Right. He gets a text. His kids are in the car with, I guess, a Secret Service agent at this point.
Yeah, they're on their way to the airport.
Right. Cal says no makeup. He asks for coffee. His chef, whose hands are shaking at this point, and actually at several points you see Cal's hands shaking.
Yeah.
So he's not a superhero. He's a human being, and you see signs of that.
Well, that's why he took a drink earlier.
Right. Yes,
He took a drink before recording the first speech because it calmed his nerves. Now, when he's going on live, he's not drinking alcohol. He wants coffee this time.
And I'm assuming the chef knows that this is it.
Yeah, this chef, John, he is a little smarter than the cleaner, Jeffrey. Like, he doesn't know. He hasn't been told.
Right.
But he understands.
And you don't need
what's going on.
You could use this guy. Why isn't he on the list? But anyway.
I know, right? You should have brought more of your own staff, I think.
Yeah.
Chef John is played by Ted Barton. He was in an episode of Good Girls.
He was also in a Scooby-Doo movie.
Oh, yeah, I noticed he had a lot of Scooby-Doo credits.
Yes.
Like multiple Scooby-Doo voicing credits.
Yeah. And you see his chief of staff, like, staring at him, basically burning a hole in Cal. Like, can we hurry the fuck up? We need to get going.
Yeah, and this was a touching little moment.
Right,
And John says to him, it's been an honor to serve you. You know what this reminded me of?
Yeah.
Like the band on Titanic.
Yes.
That was just, like, they know they're about to die and they just keep doing their jobs.
Right.
Unlike Jeffrey, who was still doing his job, but he didn't realize that things are actually bad. This dude realizes. He knows, I'm not going to live through today.
Right.
But he's still hanging around to serve the president a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
With shaking hands. He's doing his duty.
Right.
And this scene makes me cry every time.
Absolutely.
Every single time. This is one of those moments where it's like, just these little moments where we don't know this character. It's the only scene he's in.
Right.
But it's just, you instantly, like, are sad for him.
Right.
The whole world's ending. Everybody's dying. But in this moment, I can cry for this chef.
Xavier gives Ryan a bulletproof vest and says, no one gets in. Cal gets on the air and says that they are in a worldwide disaster, that they should get where they want to be to say goodbye to their loved ones. He says that the people of the U.S. are decent people. As he talks, people watch him on the monitors, horrified. Ryan looks now super tense as he really knows what's going on now.
Yeah, this is, like I said earlier, you can tell who kind of was Versailles and who wasn't. Now you really know.
Right.
Watching the people's reactions to this announcement.
Right. Cal finishes off his speech that to all the people who meant something to him personally, he loves them. We see a shot of the empty cart that Jeffrey has now officially abandoned.
Yeah.
He's gone at this point.
He gets it now.
Right.
And also in that scene, we had the producer.
Yes.
Who is Esther Pidal. She was in an episode of a show called Snowfall.
The agents start escorting Cal out. They encounter the staff and Marcia in the room that everyone was watching the TVs in. The situation grows tense. Marcia yells at Xavier when she realizes that she's not going to be saved. Her son is not going to be saved. Cal basically is like, I wish I could say something to make this better. What did you think that you could say to make this better to people who know that they are going to die?
I mean, he could have said, I'll take your son.
Right.
He could have.
He could have.
This 3-year-old child.
But since
we need the future of humanity.
But since he has absolutely zero intention of doing that, you might as well just, like, peace out, guys, I'm leaving, because there's nothing he can say here to make this better.
And this is the consequences of his decision to tell everybody the truth. Is now you got to face it. Now you got to face all the people in this room, all of your staff, who you are sentencing to death by not taking them with you.
Now, let me ask you a question. Do you think Cal did the right thing?
Telling people?
Yes. It's an interesting question.
I think that, yes, people needed to know. But maybe exactly how and when he did it was bad because he jeopardized the whole plan.
Right.
you could have just made things a lot worse if you and your people don't get out of here.
Right.
Maybe he should have went live from Andrews once he's somewhere a little safer.
If that's possible.
Or, haven't there been live broadcasts from Air Force One before?
I think so. I'm not totally sure, but yeah.
But, I don't know. Like, the way he did it was dangerous. And Xavier knew, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're about to have that whole thing. Like, how bad this is.
Right.
Because you've been lying to these people all along, telling them, like, yeah, and they all think, like, hey, we're with the president. We're in the safest place we could be.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And no, you're all dead. There's, like, a handful of people here who are going to be brought to safety, and you're being left behind. And they're all being told it now.
So, Todd says, look, people, this is the reality. We need to get to somewhere safe. Todd, being the chief of staff, he's mentioned by name here by someone in the crowd. And Todd, spoiler alert, is not going to make it. But, yeah, he basically, someone's like, well, Todd, like, where are you going? But, yeah, he's basically trying to get reason with these people and suggest that they need to stay behind and help secure the president, get out of here.
Right.
People in the situation are not particularly moved by this argument. Someone tries to go for a gun. He ends up getting shot. Xavier gets a call from his wife. He doesn't get a chance to answer it, or he does.
He dropped his phone.
Yeah, he drops the phone in the scuffle, and basically, people are held back with guns. Which at this point, what do you have to lose?
And Ryan, is the one that shoots the dude.
Right. And before leaving, Xavier goes and grabs his phone because that's his only way to communicate with his wife at this point.
Yeah.
And the phone call is hung up. I'm kind of curious if she heard any of that.
I'm sure she heard something.
Right. So they get the president to the elevator. His chief of staff sarcastically says, hey, thanks for that, Cal.
Yeah. And also, like, this is where Robinson's like, forget the plan.
Right.
Like, the whole, we're going down in groups. It was supposed to just be Cal and Xavier going.
Yep.
She's like, as many of us as we can, get in the frickin' elevator. Forget the groups. Just everyone that's Versailles, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, and Cal says, well, fuck you. That was the right thing to do. Whether it was or not, I think that's debatable.
I think letting them know was the right thing.
Yeah.
That the plan was faulted.
Yes.
Because, yes, the public had a right to know, but his people and the way he should have told his people before going live and telling the public.
Yes.
That would have, I think, made them a little less angry at him.
Maybe.
I don't know. It's, of course, there's no matter what you do, everyone's going to want to be saved, right? And you can't save everybody.
It's not gonna be like where someone's like, oh, well, I'm okay, cool with dying. Like, just let me die. That's fine.
I think John the chef he wasn't asking to be saved.
Right. I mean, I think he, like you said, he's smarter than most people.
Yeah.
In this episode, but the tendency for human beings is to want to survive.
Of course.
Right.
But now we're in like this situation where everybody's so angry that they were left in the dark, right? And it's a really dangerous situation where, like, somebody just had to get shot here. And the fact that they've got Ryan being the one shooting people.
Yes.
Like, that's crazy. Because he's not Versailles. He doesn't get it yet.
Right.
He doesn't know that he's getting left behind. He assumes, I'm Secret Service, I'm going wherever the president's going.
Right.
I'm saved because of my job, so I'm going to help protect him, and I'm going to shoot the people going against us.
Right.
Right? Even getting in the elevator, he's shooting people that are trying to get on the elevator.
Right.
How different do you think this would have went if he realized his position in this?
I don't know. You might have been turning the gun around and saying,
exactly.
You motherfuckers aren't going anywhere.
Exactly.
So Robinson tells him that he is to load into the gunship and take off. Robinson goes back up in the elevator, not sure what she's doing exactly.
She's getting the next group of people.
Gotcha.
So she's the one in charge of making sure all of the Versailles people get on a helicopter.
Right. En route, Xavier takes off his vest and puts it on the president. They go out the door. People on the White House lawn are angry. Gunshots are fired. The person holding the nuclear football is shot down. Xavier has to go back and get it. Ryan tries to get on the plane.
Pause for just a second.
Sure.
The person carrying the football is Lieutenant Commander Hunter. We were told his name earlier. I think we skipped over that scene. It was Xavier and one of the agents, I think it was Rainey. One of the agents we know went and got the big guns.
Right.
And they were talking about, like, oh, are you Versailles? Who's Versailles? Who's not Versailles? And we learned that Commander Hunter is Versailles, and he's the one carrying the football.
At this point, if I'm getting asked, are you Versailles? I'm saying yes.
Right? Just pretend you don't know what it means, but go along with it.
Right. Like, I've caught on to things going on around me, and I'm like, yep, I'm totally Versailles. Yep, totally.
But Rainey is Versailles.
Right.
But yeah, Hunter was played by Paul Eliopoulos. He's a stunt actor. That makes sense, because he dies here.
Right.
So he, takes a fall. He has 178 stunt credits, including 3 episodes of This Is Us, 4 episodes of American Horror Story, and 2 episodes of X-Files.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, he didn't make it.
No.
His job was to carry the football, which again is this briefcase that's, capable of... Well, we'll talk about it more later. But
right.
it's important, and he was the one carrying it, so... and it's Rainey who tells Xavier, like, oh, the football, and Xavier goes back for it. Why didn't Rainey go back for it? Rainey's the one still wearing a freaking vest. Xavier has no vest on. He runs back in where people are actively shooting to get the football.
Right.
His job should have been to stay with Cal. Rainey should have took his ass out there to get the football.
Yeah, Rainey, don't be lazy. So Ryan is trying to get on the plane. Xavier says he can't. Ryan angrily insists that he's going where he's going.
He's like, there's room. And you know what? He's right. There is room. Because we just lost the dude carrying the football that was supposed to be on this helicopter. There's room for him. There's room for Marsha's kid.
Right. Xavier says no. His orders are to stay here. Ryan raises his gun. Robinson just point blank shoots him in the head. And wow. That's a crazy moment.
And and this is a moment we saw before where she screams, covered in blood, and screams at Xavier, just do your effing job.
Right. Xavier's pissed and says he wasn't going to shoot him. I think that's pretty wishful thinking on your part, buddy.
I mean, yeah, he could have just killed all of you.
Right. Robinson says to do his job. Xavier is super pissed. You see his face. But he gets on the plane. Cal, meanwhile, is in the plane. He looks upset. He looks scared as the plane rises into the air. Robinson says it stays on the ground, keeping the crowd back.
Right, because there's... Oh, and yeah, this isn't the helicopter they were supposed to be in, by the way.
Right.
This isn't... what's the name? Marine One.
Yep.
They said earlier Marine One took damage and took off, so this was just another helicopter.
Right.
So the whole plan's just kind of gone to hell. Like, everything's chaos.
I mean, you figure that the best way plans are going to go exactly that way.
Well, it's because everybody knows they're dying now.
Right.
Like, they didn't really know before. Now they know how bad it is.
Yeah.
They were told before it's going to be okay. Now they're like, no, you're dead. But we're going to take off, so have fun.
Right.
So yeah, people, there's guns, there's it's a shit show.
Yeah.
Which is what Xavier said to Rainey earlier. Like, this is about to go down. And it did. It went down. But yeah, so we've got Robin. We're left looking from the helicopter that they're in, seeing Robinson kind of trying to control the crowd as they prep the next group of Versailles to get in the next helicopter. It's a miracle that she didn't get killed. She's not wearing a vest either, by the way.
No.
She's the leader. Why does she not have a vest on?
I don't know. I would think if you were Secret Service, you would
she's
just
like
be
the leader of Secret Service or whatever. She's in charge.
You would automatically be wearing a vest to be in Secret Service.
And why does Cal have one already? I mean, I get like this wasn't the plan, but you should have still had a vest on.
Right.
Everybody that's trying to leave should have had a vest on.
pretty much.
But yeah, just that scene of her standing there in the crowd. It's amazing that she got out.
Yeah.
And managed to actually get where she's supposed to go without getting killed.
Right.
Especially since they just watched her, like, kill somebody point blank.
So wherever they end up landing, I think...
This is Andrews Air Force Base, which is where Air Force One is.
Xavier tries to get his wife. He can't. Cal tells him he needs to get on the plane. His kids are already on. And
we see briefly Master Sergeant, who's directing traffic. There's 3 airplanes. Mm-hmm. And she's directing traffic of who's getting on which plane. And this is where we hear, like, oh, the cabinet members here, the whatever, which is going to be important. Who's on which plane. Master Sergeant's played by Beck Williams. She was in an episode of Fallout, episode 202, which just recently aired, as one of the Brotherhood people, as well as 3 episodes of Kenan.
Cal says with a very shaky voice, Xavier, look at me. He tells him his kids need him. He needs him. And Xavier says, when did you know she wasn't going to make it? Cal answers, when he told him she was still in Atlanta. Basically, from that moment on, he knew for a fact that she was not going to make it.
Right, and he knows now that it's too late because she would have been here
if
she had made that plane at Dobbins.
Right.
It's already should have been here, and she wasn't on it. She's not making their plane, which is the one actually going to Colorado.
Right. Xavier starts breaking down, saying she didn't know what was coming. Why didn't he tell them? Cal did. Pretty much.
Did.
Yes, we've had this conversation before, but yeah. He starts railing on the president. Cal starts yelling back. They're yelling over each other. They're not.
He says, "You think that you told people 10 minutes ago, and that's good enough? You should have told them 10 years ago."
Right. He was not president.
He wasn't president 10 years ago. He didn't know about this 10 years ago. Sinatra did.
Yes.
His dad did.
Yeah.
He didn't know.
Right. So, no. Xavier's anger here is not rational in any kind of way. Mm-hmm. It's completely understandable, though. He's about to lose his wife. He's been in this pressure cooker situation throughout the entire day. And, basically the world is ending. And Cal is not to blame for his wife dying.
I think at this point he feels guilty.
And he's projecting onto Cal.
He realizes he should not have let her go on this trip.
Now, speaking of which, is this the same trip?
I'm assuming this is that trip. She said, I'll see you in 10 days. He's never going to see her again.
Right.
Through now.
He will, but yes. Yeah. But from the assumption is that's not going to happen because we don't know that she's alive, until this episode tells us.
Right.
But, yeah.
I think he's just looking for somewhere to place his blame.
Yeah.
And Cal's an easy target because he didn't come right out and be like, oh, tomorrow it's going to happen. Well, he didn't know.
Right.
When.
Mm-hmm.
He told you the best he could tell you.
And they're basically yelling, right over each other. This is something that's really hard to capture in TV. Basically, people, just yelling over each other at the exact same time. And have it be kind of legible in any kind of way. It's extremely well done. This moment hurts really bad. Because, we've grown to like Cal. We've grown to like Xavier. We enjoyed their friendship. And they're just, knife fighting each other with words.
And we've seen, this is when it broke down, right? It was always what happened between them? This is it.
Yeah.
This is the moment that he no longer supports him in the way he did previously.
Right. Cal tells him that if Xavier doesn't want a seat on the plane, there are billions of other people that would gladly take his spot.
8 billion people.
8 billion, yes. He needs to go be there for his children because they just lost their mother. Xavier, through tears, says he doesn't know what to do. And Cal says, yes, you do. And that's basically to get on the plane because there's really only one right answer here. Are you going to stay here and die?
Right.
So he gets on the plane. Presley asks about their mom. He doesn't answer. He cuddles up with his kids and holds back tears. She again asks a question. He again doesn't say anything.
I thought it was James that was asking.
No, I don't think James speaks in this scene. But maybe he did.
And then we hear an attendant announcing, "Oh, you've all received a wristband." So we're already in that mode.
Yeah.
Where we're bunker life. Yes. Everybody puts a wristband on, and they're never going to take them off again.
Right. The plane lifts off. They get hit with a high pressure sound wave. The plane shakes. They stabilize. One plane didn't make it.
Yeah. So there were 3 planes. One of the planes went down.
Yeah.
Now I have a question. This happened immediately after takeoff.
Yes.
If they'd waited 5 more minutes for the boom to pass and then took off, would they have been able to do that? Would they have taken off?
Not sure.
Would that have saved this plane that went down?
Right.
Or would none of them have been able to take off afterwards?
Right.
Did they have to beat it?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I don't really know what kind of damage a high pressure sound wave does. It might have damaged some of the equipment on the airplane to make it so that they couldn't take off, but don't really know, to be honest with you. So Cal looks out the window of his office. He's looking at the plane that crashed.
And this is the Air Force One office where we, in the last couple episodes, have seen Jeremy sitting
Yes.
and drinking.
Yep.
So that's where Cal is now.
Xavier sits alone. His kids are asleep. He's joined by Cal. He apologizes, and he offers him a phone and tells him that he may be able to contact his wife with this.
Yeah, satellite phone.
Yep. Cal is called back to talk to the Joint Chiefs. And then he goes back there. Bane tells him the plane had the Justices Congress and his chief of staff, Todd. So that's why we don't see him in present day. He died. Sinatra is there. The Joint Chiefs says that the nuclear war is breaking out, that they should fire their nukes at all nuclear powers.
And this is, they're talking on the monitor to Kirtley and military people who were on the third plane.
Right. The Joint Chiefs themselves aren't going to make it. Goodbye, Scott Lawrence, at least in, present day scenes anyway.
Yeah, so they're still on the plane, but
Right.
they're like, we're landing in
Right.
St. Louis because the plane took damage. We have to land.
Right.
But here's the thing. Knowing what we know in the rest of the episode,
Could they still be alive?
they could still be alive.
Potentially.
Because they're not going to get killed by a nuke.
Right.
So they could still be alive.
Right.
They didn't have a plane crash. They just didn't make it to Colorado.
And yeah, this thing where...
And St. Louis is in the middle of the country, so the tsunami probably didn't get to them.
So this thing where... And I'm sure this is realistic. I'm sure this is exactly what would happen. But the world is ending. The vast majority of people are not going to make it, regardless. And they're engaging in a nuclear war to wipe out the people that could potentially survive.
Well, that's the thing.
That's just such a waste.
So the tsunami, right, if people weren't people and didn't freaking, start fighting each other, the tsunami wouldn't have ended the world.
Right.
It would have greatly reduced the population.
Yes.
Hundreds of miles of coastline across the world would have been completely flattened. But interior locations, places 1,000 miles from a coastline, would be fine. There'd be plenty of survivors. It would be, I don't know numbers, but let's say 50% of the population is inland and 50% is coastal. The inland 50% would live. The reason it's a world-ending event is because all the countries are starting to throw their nukes at each other. They are ending the potential of life going on.
Yeah.
By fighting. By doing what humans do. And they're like, oh, this is a good time for war. Let's shoot each other with nuclear weapons.
Right. Yeah. It's
Which
sad.
is the reason that it's an extinction event.
Right.
And this is why they think everybody that's not in the bunker is gone. Because of the nukes, not because of the tsunami.
Right.
Plenty of people would have outlived the tsunami.
Cal says he understands. He goes into the office saying he needs to take a minute. Cal goes into his office. He sits with the football, and Sinatra comes in. Sinatra says that this was part of their projections, and Cal is like, well, that's lovely.
Yeah, she said in every model we ran, it was going to end in nuclear war.
Right.
It was inevitable that's
Right.
how human beings were going to react to this.
Cal says that when he became president, he asked about all the secrets. Like who killed JFK, about the aliens.
Bigfoot. And this was, by the way, that little line was part of the trailer
Yes.
for this series. They kind of led you to think this was going to be a little more of a supernatural show
Right.
than it turned out being.
He was disappointed because there really wasn't anything. But then he was briefed on the nuclear football. Everyone knows about the nuclear capabilities. Basically, there's no two hands that have to be on this, just him.
Yep, he has red codes. And if he
Right.
enters the codes and pushes the switch, U.S. nukes are going to launch.
But what no one knows is that it also has a different set of codes, which was the brainchild of the colonel at the beginning of the episode.
And these are the blue codes.
Basically, it would fry every circuit on the planet as a giant EMP. It might even stop nuclear missiles in their tracks. The downside is the planet would go back 500 years.
Yeah, so basically it's going to take all electronics and fry them.
Right.
So they don't work anymore, including the nukes.
He asks how long till they land. 20 minutes. Cal thinks that's plenty of time. Cal intends to do this instead of firing the nukes. Sinatra says that the remaining people will starve. Better to die in a mushroom cloud than that way.
Yeah, she doesn't want him to do this.
Right.
He says this will give people a chance.
And she says, we need that chance. We need to know what's going what's going on in the outside world when it's
Right.
safe to come out.
And if all the electronics are fried, we're not going to be able to
Right.
monitor the outside world. So this tells me one thing. She did have plans at some point to leave the bunker.
Mm-hmm.
She says when the world is inhabitable, we'll go outside.
Right.
But we need, to be able to monitor what's happening outside.
Right.
So she had that plan at some point. She obviously doesn't have that plan now.
Yes. Cal calls for Rainey and tells him that if she doesn't move, to shoot her. And, it's interesting, she has that line where I want to see what it looks like when you have balls. She already saw that because he definitely has balls in the scene.
Oh, yeah.
This is a very different man.
This is him standing up to her.
Right.
Everything we've ever seen is she's in charge. He's just a figurehead, has no actual power.
Right.
He's being the president in
Right.
this scene. He's like, I'm the one in charge. I'm the one with the codes, and I'm going to decide what to do.
It's a very
And why are you even standing in this room right now? You're nobody.
It's a very different man from the person that we get to know who was in the bunker, was a very broken, damaged man who basically was a shadow of his former self.
Right.
And, of course, of the much younger version of Cal that we saw with Kane, who's basically just going along with what his dad says, despite trying to rebel and not being able to, really, when it comes down to it. But
This is him
yeah.
doing the one thing
Yes.
that he ever does.
So Xavier calls his wife. She cries that she could make it. Cal sets off the device as they see nukes are coming. Xavier continues to talk to his wife. Cal flips the switch. Terry tells her husband that it's okay to be happy, to tell her kids that their mommy loves them. Xavier, through tears, tells his wife that he will. There's an explosion, presumably a nuclear explosion of some type, outside the plane. Terry tells him that she's scared, and he's like, no, it's going to be okay. He talks her through it, that he's got her. And Xavier is watching the monitors as missiles hit.
Yeah, so we can see on the monitors where the nukes are hitting.
Right.
And we can see one is directly headed to Atlanta.
Right. Xavier tells his wife that he loves her, crying. She cries, telling him that to be a good father. And the call goes dead. And Xavier breaks down into sobbing tears, thinking that at that moment that's where she died.
The nuke hit Atlanta.
Yeah, right.
But here's what really happened.
Right.
Is Cal did the blue codes.
Yes.
Which is Sinatra's telling the truth. There's something you didn't know, right?
Right.
He did the blue codes. So the reason the call dropped is because the electronics were fried.
Right.
The phone signals were fried.
Mm.
And the nuke was neutralized.
Right.
It didn't blow up in Atlanta or all of those. Like some nukes had already hit, but all these ones that were inbound right now were neutralized.
Mm.
It wasn't a direct hit on Atlanta. The whole reason the call dropped is because of electronics, not because she died in a bomb.
Present day, Xavier still has a gun on Sinatra. Sinatra says she guesses it worked. Nuclear holocaust was partially avoided. No missiles hit Atlanta. Xavier says that she can't know that for sure. But then one of the voices on a recording is his wife searching for him, which is kind of convenient, but whatever. Xavier with a gun points at her and says, "Where is she? How do I find her?" And when she doesn't answer, Xavier fires a warning shot at the floor. Sinatra, being a cool customer, doesn't seem to be fazed by this, says she has to make a quick phone call. It's to Mark, the bartender, where his kids were supposed to be. Presley isn't with them. Sinatra says that the DNA from Cal's murder didn't match anyone in the bunker. The murderer must be from the outside. Xavier asks, "What did you do with my daughter?" And Sinatra says he will release her people, return the guns, find out who killed the president, and return this place to fucking normal if he ever wants to see his wife or daughter again. And she laughs, "Maybe I actually am a monster." And that is where the episode ends.
So he knows now
Yep.
his wife's alive. He heard her voice.
Yes.
He doesn't believe Sinatra telling him, but he heard it for himself.
Right, yeah. A powerful, crackerjack episode. I mean, like, I can't think of a better episode of television than this.
It is really good. Now, I do have
Yeah.
some questions and things we want to talk about.
Okay, yes, absolutely.
But first, all the people we didn't place. Let's go over them real quick.
Okay.
All right, we had a senior aide played by Arlo Serenas. He was in 3 episodes of The Boss and an episode of Shameless. We had a staffer played by Peter Falls, who was in 5 episodes of This Is Us and an episode of Good Girls. We had Agent Januez, which I'm surprised there's a named agent. Neither of us placed, but there was. He was played by Alvin Cowan. He was in 5 episodes of This Is Us and an episode of Back in the Game. We have an Army general played by Patrick M.J. Finery, who was in an episode of American Crime Story and was also a voice in A Life is Strange game. This one was the Before the Storm game.
Gotcha, the first
we
one.
We have a passenger called passenger played by Matt Kaminsky, who was in an episode of This Is Us, an episode of The Fosters, and an episode of Star Trek Picard. And we had an uncredited staffer played by Anna Voren Garderis, who only has 3 other credits, and none of them were anything I was willing to try pronouncing. So sorry for that. They were in another language. And that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Okay, so one question I have.
Sure.
Why would this EMF thing that's frying all of the electronics on Earth not affect the electronics in the bunker? Including the airplane.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess the idea is that they were going to land before they would be impacted by the EMP, or at least that's what Cal was suggesting.
But he was still in the plane. Like, did the plane land during this conversation?
I don't know. Also, as to your other question as to why it wouldn't impact the bunker, I mean, the bunker would have to be able to survive a nuclear attack.
Sure. But this is hitting all the electronics on the planet.
Yes.
That would indicate that any other underground electronics would also be okay.
Potentially. I mean, I'm not really super smart enough to answer that question. I think that's more of a your husband question.
This was strong enough to land missiles midair.
Yes. I guess the bunker was designed to withstand anything, including an EMP.
Okay, but what about the bracelets that they put on in the airplane?
Yeah.
Which they're using in the bunker.
Right, and when we see the bunker next week, we're going to see a whole bunch of people like stuck outside trying to get in. So any of them would theoretically be impacted by this EMP, but we don't know exactly
well, their
where.
Cars,
yeah.
the cars,
Yes.
if I recall, the cars don't run. It stopped the cars.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the bracelets. They're all wearing the bracelets, and the bracelets aren't fried because they use them to identify them as they enter the bunker.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
No.
Shouldn't the bracelets have been affected? They're electronics.
Presumably, yes.
Okay. I'll set that aside because I'm not buying that it was strong enough to land nukes, but it didn't affect their bracelets. I'll give them the bunker, but the bracelets weren't in the bunker. They were above ground still.
That's fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's something conversation we had, but let's have it on air a little bit. 2 things. One, it's unrealistic that when they're splitting people up to 3 airplanes, that they would have put Cal, Baines, and Sinatra, the 3 highest positions of power in the bunker, in the same airplane.
Yes. As I mentioned earlier, this was about continuity of government. There was no guarantee that all 3 planes were going to make it to the bunker. In fact, some of them did not.
Only one of the 3 ends up making it.
Right.
And it happens to be the one the 3 most powerful people are on.
Right.
But it could have easily gone the other way.
Right. And then you would either have the government run by the generals.
Yeah, Cutley would have been in charge of the bunker. That would have been a very
Right.
different reality.
Yes. Or like just Congress, which would that scenario wouldn't be so bad because some of those people could potentially
Sure.
be
But the president and the vice president both being on this same airplane in this scenario when all 3 planes left from the same place.
Yes.
I don't feel like that's realistic. I feel like they would have split them up.
Yes, absolutely. Because, the idea, once again, continuity of government, you want somebody from the higher powers of government to survive so that the government can still continue functioning. And yes, having them all on the same plane, unfortunately, goes against that whole ethos.
Yeah.
So,
and if there was only 1 plane coming from DC, that makes sense that they're on it.
Right.
But there were 3 planes all leaving Andrews.
Right.
They would have put them on separate planes.
I mean, the only thing I could say in defense of that is maybe that was not the plan, but things got so clusterfucky because of everything that went down that's what ended up happening.
Maybe.
Even though that's not what was supposed to happen.
Yeah. I mean, I would have liked them to acknowledge that we shouldn't be putting the 3 most powerful people on the same plane.
Right.
And then the other conversation, which is something we have talked about kind of in great detail, but not on air. So let's talk a little bit about it, is how many people didn't make it to the bunker?
It seems like
that were on the list.
It seems like quite a few. I mean, there was at least a couple of planes.
The 2 airplanes full, we know. How many people out of, seriously, well, I don't remember the number. I should have looked it up. Was it 25,000 people?
Something like that.
Something like that are on the list from across the country. Like, they weren't all DC people. There were planes coming from all over the place as part of the Versailles plan.
Not to mention that we will see in the next episode that there's a car pile back of people trying to get into the bunker.
Right, because all the cars were neutralized.
So you would have to imagine that some of those people were not going
Versailles.
to make it, and were not going to make it.
Right.
Yeah.
So a lot of people didn't make it.
Yeah.
Which just means they had room.
Yes.
They had so much more room.
Right.
And they could have let more people in.
They could have taken Jeffrey. They could have taken the chef. I mean, you're telling me you can't use a chef?
They could have taken these people. They could have taken the kid.
Yeah.
And, you can argue they didn't know they were going to have so much room at that point. Okay. But how come we're not taking people from Colorado then?
Right.
How come we're not letting more people in?
Yes.
Why do we not have a contingency, a B list of Colorado residents to let in extra spots?
Right.
And, we're going to see next week that the rest of the play out of how the rest of that day. And that's not what happened. They don't let anybody in that wasn't on the initial list. But you had room. You had so much room. There should have been a B list.
Yes.
For, like I said, local
alternates.
people.
Yeah.
Obviously they're not going to have time to bring more people in. But you could have had local people.
Yeah.
That you brought in.
Yeah. Because, I mean, the idea here would be to maximize, how many people you save.
The point of this is to continue the human race.
Yes.
That's the point.
Right.
And, we had one stray mention earlier in the season about, we need to start having kids in the bunker.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe you should have brought that 3-year-old with you.
Right, yeah.
How many kids are here, really? Is it just important people's kids?
Yes. I think, basically, I guess she wouldn't have been the one picking all those people. Sinatra was not the one. That would be Tarabi.
Tarabi was working with Sinatra. And Cal had some say.
Yeah. Does she have the same elitist viewpoint that I'm sure Sinatra has as to who should get in? Does she consider the only rich people are the ones that deserve to survive?
Well, no, they're not all rich people.
Yes, yeah.
And that's something we'll save that conversation for next week of why some of these people were on the list.
Right.
I had thoughts about that, but
Yeah.
we'll save that conversation for next week once we talk about some of the people who made it and didn't make it.
Right.
As we see the arrivals part of the story. But yeah, there's so much still left to talk about next week. And I'm kind of amazed that, wait, all that's in one episode?
Yes.
Because we have the rest of the day, the actual arrival scenes. We back up and do the entire building of the bunker.
And we see those scenes kind of quick flashes.
Yeah, but we learn a lot about the building of the bunker and things that happen. And we meet a bunch of new characters.
Yes.
And learn their whole stories.
And then they die.
And then we have to deal with the present day still.
Right.
We still have more to that story to tell in season 1.
Finding out how the president was killed in the first place and who did it. And,
right.
Yeah.
So we still have the the day, the end of the day the president died, and present day.
That's a lot to cover.
That's a lot of storylines happening in episode 8.
Yes.
And I remember it's a good episode. They do it well.
They do. It is kind of amazing that they managed that.
Is it a 3-hour episode?
As far as I know, it's not. I mean, it's quite possible that it's longer than the 45 minutes of a typical television episode.
I mean, I haven't revisited the finale yet, so I'm eager to watch that now, because I know all of these things are in there.
Yes.
I'm just all that fits in one episode?
Yeah.
It's a lot of things.
Apparently it does. We will definitely see how that comes together next week when we talk about that episode. And then that's it for Paradise for at least 3 weeks.
Only for a little while, because we're almost here. Season 2 is coming out. I'm excited. We have another 8 episodes for season 2. Again, premiering on February 23rd. And we'll be here covering it. Probably a few days late, but we'll be here.
Yes. That first week is going to be really interesting because the first 3 episodes are coming out that day.
Yeah.
So it'll be challenging.
It's going to be... just stick around though, because we're gonna
Right.
get there.
Yeah.
We're gonna make it happen, and we're gonna be here to talk about it with you as we're learning the new season. This is I'm so excited because we watched season 1. It's like a rewatch, right? Even though
Right.
we're trying to like do a little bit of spoilery free,
Right.
and not like talk about the whole plot of it as we go.
Yeah, we no
But-
longer have to do that with.
But we're heading into a
yeah.
new season of television. We don't know what's coming.
Right.
And we're going to be able to do the thing that we do best, which is examine the episodes, theorize about what's going on with these characters and the twists and turns that are coming. And you know twists and turns are coming
Absolutely.
in a Dan Fogelman story.
Yes, of course. Yep. The trailer even suggests some of that. You know what I want to see next season. Well, you brought up the one, the basically seeing the wife's perspective of the
Of this day, yeah.
But I want more background on Jane. I want an episode that detailed. We got one on Billy
There is a Jane episode I
okay.
read that
Okay.
she has an episode dedicated to her.
because she's interesting.
Yeah.
and I would like to know more about her.
I did read somewhere that there's
Yeah.
going to be a whole episode about Jane.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I mean that's there's plenty of room, plenty of stories to tell here. for
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
Plenty
I mean,
of
we
other-
could deep dive into any character's background still,
Right, yeah.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we're going to be spending a lot of time not in the bunker.
Yes.
So, but next
Yeah.
week we'll talk about how we get there.
Yes.
How is this story branching to what's coming in season 2? And we'll talk about that next week.
All right. Anything else to say before concluding?
That's all I have.
Okay. We'd like to hear from you. What you think of this episode? What you think of this podcast? Stacie, can we reach that?
I can be reached on Twitter, X, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky at TV and Coupon Talk.
If you like this video and want to support the channel, there are ways to do so. You can follow me on Twitter at Core Productions. You can join the Core Productions Facebook page. You can buy something from the Core Productions store on Dazzle. You can buy me a coffee. You can join the Core Productions membership starting at 99 cents a month. And of course, you can like, share, and comment on this video, as well as subscribing to the channel. This is Dave and Stacie from Core Productions, signing off.